Okay.
Ja-
So
James,
so
by
at
the way.
Yeah, so it's interesting. As it turns out, Jeff Teeper, who is the vice president of SharePoint and Office 365, as I'm sure you know, he is the president of a reform congregation. So he has
Hmm.
really been able to support us a lot as we launch this. It's not really hands-on support, but we know that he's there, and it's been great to have him there. So they've given about 11,000 SharePoint licenses to us so far, and we haven't used them all, but we have them, and our approach is to give complimentary seats to every affiliate organization for whom we create a site for in our SharePoint site, and then also to invite 10 lay leaders from each of our 900 congregations as well. And we know they're not all going to use all of those seats, but we figured this is a good place to start, see how this works, and then we think we can get more seats from Microsoft to use as we may need. But we also don't want to overextend ourselves and invite more users onto our site than we can effectively support. So, um, so I'm going to show you the home page. I'm going to turn off my camera. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we've called our SharePoint site the tent. If you go back to the book of Genesis, you will see that it's Abraham, I believe, who is at his tent one day, and three strangers come to his tent, and it's explained that as he sits outside his tent, he sees these three men walk up to him, and he gets up and he runs to welcome them. And we really like that to we kind of use that to frame our SharePoint site, as we wanted this to be the tent, a place where everybody throughout the reform movement was welcome to come in and talk and share and learn and to connect. So we call our SharePoint site the tent, and that's kind of where that name comes from. So this is our now. I also want to explain the URJ has an IT department of its own, and we have a dedicated staff. Not dead. Well, we have about two and a half people who give their time to helping to support our SharePoint site, which is great, but it's not nearly as much as we need. And we also work with an IT company in the Ukraine to help support our site, and it's that IT company that helped to develop the brand that we have. So I think they've done fine work, but I think this brand can really be refined and improved a lot. And I also want to look at ways that we can ease the means of access to our site as well. Okay? So here is where one can sign into the tent, and I'm already signed in, of course. But I want to go back and show you that we've also built tools that if somebody forgot their username, password, they can click here. If they forgot so this is for your password reset. This is if you've forgotten your username here. And then we have a tool by which we ask our congregational leaders to log in here and to request those 10 seats for other lay leaders in their congregation. I'm not going to go into that right now, but this is where that all lives. And they just list the names of everybody who's on their staff and board, and next to each name is a checkbox saying, yes, I want a seat for them to get into the tent. And then we in IT make sure that they should get into the tent, and then within 1 or 2 days they get their login information and access instructions. Okay, so that's what the homepage looks like, and so then I sign into the tent, and the new inside homepage looks a lot like the outside homepage does. So what we've really done is we have 3 different open sites in the tent that everybody is encouraged to go to, and we framed these sites on this quote: upon these 3 things the world is sustained, on Torah, Avodah, and Gimilut Hasadim. And we kind of explain what these 3 terms mean here. And so if I were to click into one of these sites, here's really how all of our sites look. Okay, so we have our main discussions here. Who are our top contributors here, our resource libraries here, our discussion categories page here. And I don't think I need to go into much depth about it. You guys all know what this is, I assume. And does this make sense as to what we've done here?
Yeah, it looks pretty clear cut to me.
Okay, great. So we have these 3 open sites, and why did we do 3 open sites and not one? And that's uh, and as you launch SharePoint sites a lot, I'm sure, and rare is the day that I don't get a complaint about this is too hard to use. It should work like this. It should work like that. And there were complaints that why did we set up 3 sites instead of just one? Because so many of our users were coming from the listserv world. I wanted to make it as easy as I could to create email alerts and create and receive alerts that were important to you. So if I created one site with all of these different concerns represented on that one site, and as was explained to me, we can only set up email alerts per site, not per discussion category. I wanted to at least make sure that the email alerts that people would receive was in the realm of the things they cared about. And if somebody cared about school, then they wouldn't be also getting email alerts about things that had to do with temple administration as well, if that's not what they cared about. Since then, we've learned there may in fact be a way to set up an alert per discussion category. And we're looking into that. And if that works out, we may in fact combine these 3 open sites into one site. Do you have any expertise to share about that? Am I way off base here?
Yeah. Well, how what is generating the alert right now?
So we have well here so this is back on our homepage. I've created these little 2-minute webinars here to explain how to do some very basic things in the tent. But from what I understand, in order to do an alert, here's what we need to to do here, and then go to discussions list, and then
Keep in mind, this is James. I can't see the screen.
right. So we have a 6-step. We have 6 steps we need to go through in order to set an alert right now, and it's six.
James, he's navigating. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. James, he's navigating through native administration pathways to accomplish the sending of an email notification,
Yeah.
instead of having some simple button to click or some other method that would hide
So
all of that.
right. So what we've begun to test with. Let me just show this to you real fast if I can find the site. Um, One second. So we have developed a one-click solution here, which is great. And we just haven't had a chance to brand this out yet. And our one-click solution went away. There was a button here. I don't know where the hell it went. There was a button here that worked that just said create an email alert on this page, and it worked. But now it's gone, so I need to look into that.
It seems to me like what you'd want to do is allow people the ability to subscribe to a list or to a page and to be notified automatically. I mean, that's a built-in capability of SharePoint.
Well, so again, from what I understand, I can set an alert for this site, for our American Conference of Cantors site, that will get me email alerts whenever a discussion is begun or a reply is made. What I can't do, though, is to create an email alert on a specific discussion category, is what we've been told.
Okay, so if you wanted to send something outside of the normal process of the list, if you just wanted to use it as a mailing list, if you will, and send your own message to everybody, you'd either have to create a new discussion to do so, or you need some other mechanism to send that.
Or say I was part of this group and all that I really care about is the employment discussion category. I only want to get email alerts about this one list here, that I cannot set up an alert just for this one page, is what I've been told.
Set up an alert for one page.
Yeah. Now here it says it can alert me, but that it's not really an alert for the discussions that are being had on this page, but perhaps for the page itself and when things are changed on this page.
How are the discussions being entertained? Are you using a blog? What device are you using for the discussion? Because I think that it could generate the alerts automatically when something new is placed there.
Now you're getting into things that I think are a little beyond my scope, in that I'm not an IT guy here, but so I'm not sure what's being asked here, but again, from what I understand, email alerts per site is fine, but and email alerts per discussion are fine too, but not email alerts per discussion category.
What is a category in the system? Is it a list? How does a category represented in your SharePoint?
Here, we have a discussion category page with a series of tiles that represent each discussion category that we have set up.
Okay. Look, I once again, I can't. Yeah, I can imagine. I can't see, but
right.
I think that addressing the issue is a piece of work that we ought to have someone get in the system and have a close-in discussion. If so, I don't know. I mean, is this the single major problem that you have to solve at this point?
No. So it's important to keep in mind that we just want to overall refine the brand and the look and feel of the site, but it's important to understand that unlike most SharePoint sites, I think this SharePoint site that we built is not only for employees. It's for people who are not employed by the URJ. So we can only dictate so much here. And there's a big thing about, everybody's username for the most part is first initial last name at urj.net. And that alone creates a lot of confusion for folks, I think. And if they get that wrong, or if they get their password wrong, it brings them to a Microsoft login page here that I have on my screen right now. And so if they forget their email address here, they're going to click the can't access your account link, which we don't use. And it sends an email somewhere that they don't get a response to. And we want them to go back to that password reset tool that we've made. And as I repeat to my IT staff all the time, and I'm told that we can't really, because we're in the cloud, we really can't change the operation of this part of the page that much where we can change how people sign in and are reminded of their passwords. And I'm told if we can just get what I tell my folks is if we can just get the issues of passwords and email alerts resolved so they're easier to use, and that if we can really make somebody's login name their actual email address, that would solve so much for us. But even on top of that, so here's the last thing that's occurred here. You'll see we've implemented Yammer as well. Now this is days old for us, and we replaced our news feed with this over the weekend, and I really regret that we have, because I don't think we really thought this out that much, and it was done while I was in my rental car in Arizona, and it's it looks great, it works great, but how is this going to relate to the rest of the work that we're doing on our SharePoint site remains to be seen. We have one group out there that we're trying to bring into the tent who's very unhappy with the way that SharePoint works. They want to be able to get an email alert from our SharePoint site and respond to that email and have it appear on the discussions list, which we all would love. And I know that we can do that in Microsoft Outlook, but from what I understand, that's the only way that it can be done. Here, if we use Yammer for all of our conversations, then I understand that we can do email with much more ease. But ultimately, how will Yammer integrate with SharePoint? How will resource libraries be a part of all of this? It's a big unknown, it seems, at this point. So if you guys don't want to talk about this piece of it yet, that's fine. But that's what my mind is filled with right now.
Okay, so I think I hear three things: passwords, email, and Yammer integration.
Yep, and branding.
Okay.
So I mean, to some, Larry, it looks like that you've got, the branding issue overall, and then you've got functionality issues.
Yes.
And those are the two things that really are at top of mind with you, and then obviously the integration of Yammer on top of that.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Now, are you locked into your relationship with the Ukraine group? Do they also do you said you have 2.5 resources there in the IT group for URJ, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And then you use the UK group for just design and branding, or what else do you use them
they're
for?
really more of a development. They're really more developers, I believe, than anything else. And
Okay.
look, we're on a contract with them that we renew when we need to renew it.
Okay.
So the answer to your question, Terry, is I don't think that
Well,
we're too strongly tied in with them.
and the reason I ask is I'm trying to get a feel for exactly, the breadth of service that you may need,
Right.
and
how we position it next, to know whether or not you do have things budgeted and
Sure.
where you see the next steps going. I mean, I know you said you've talked to some other players
Yeah.
out at SharePoint conference, and so I don't. I hope maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe you had more to show too. Let me just
Well,
stop right
I
there.
think that you have a sense of where we are and you should know, as I'm sure you can see here, that as an organization we have recently rolled into Office 365 as well. So it's all here and it's great. I like SharePoint a lot. It's enough of a technological leap, I think, for lots of folks out there, that if we don't make this as simple to use as we possibly can, and that might mean we need to move into SharePoint on-prem. That might mean that we dump all of the work that we've done in SharePoint so far, which would be a real shame, and just go full on into Yammer alone. Again, we know there's going to be more integration there at some point. We just don't know what or when.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, don't make any more big changes. That costs money.
Yeah.
So, just but were you contemplating inviting Stefanini to set up an agreement to do some work for you? Is that the basis on which
Well,
you were thinking?
we're in the point here, that we recognize we need to do some branding work on our site, and we need to address some of these accessibility issues as well. And so would love to get an idea about what that would cost to work with you and what kind of a contract we might be able to set up here. Would love to get a quote of some
Less than
kind.
$10 million.
$10 million. Okay, where do I sign?
No.
Oh,
Sorry, James, I'm speaking for you there, but
No. Look, there's things I don't know, so I can't. I listen to you and I hear certain things, but there are other questions that
Of
would need
course.
to be asked. So,
So are you going to
so
be in?
there's a bit of fact gathering here. I'm not even going to call it analysis because that even sounds like money. Okay, but I think if we could get a connection and get some more of the information
Sure.
that I don't have. If you use 3 different sites to separate topics of discussion, I don't think that would be necessary. So that would be one simplification measure that could be applied.
Yeah.
Whether you can do everything you need to do with Yammer, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a little bit like analysis. What all is it that you want to do? That's a rhetorical question.
Right.
What all needs to be accomplished here? And keep in mind that no matter how much you do, there will always be somebody wanting more. But if we could get a fundamental definition of what you set out to accomplish through your communication site, then we can sort of scope. We can put some perimeters on what needs to be done. Adding Yammer it certainly has a social bent to it. How important is social? Why can you give me a sort of simple and straightforward answer as to why someone suggested that you add Yammer? What was the cause for that?
It was actually, we were on the phone with somebody from Microsoft at the time. Our main concern is we're working with an organization called the CCAR, the Central Conference of American Rabbis. And so we want to bring them into the tent, but it's their significant concern because some of their rabbis are old, and some of them are not very technologically adept. And nor would they really have time to invest themselves into trying to learn this stuff unless they really, really wanted to. So they want to make this as easy to use as it can be. So they think that, but they've got a Facebook site that's very robust right now and that's used a lot. And so, of course, Yammer feels a little bit more like that than SharePoint does. And it works a little.
So an affinity with what they're accustomed to.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and so okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to somehow get to a more full understanding on our part of the overall scope, what it is you're trying to accomplish. How we would want to get that written down and then very clearly identify. I mean, here's the thing: a lot of our customers come to us with requirements all written down on paper.
Sure.
Here, it seems almost like we need to get involved in helping to state the requirements. Does that sound right to you?
No. It does not sound right. I think I think that we can provide a pretty good outline of what we would need, and
Okay.
I'd like to give that a shot.
Yeah, great. And here's the thing. Don't I don't know any organization, including a business, that has unlimited funds to spend. I would urge you not to do anything that costs more money right now. And certainly I don't believe for what you're doing, which is mostly communications, that you would need to consider something like going to an on-premise SharePoint.
Really?
Okay. No, I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, it may be that all we need to do is adjust things, or maybe depending on what you say about requirements, we would use a different device, or we need to configure the alerts differently. It could be maybe that there might be a little bit of customization. But
yeah,
by customization, I mean writing code, and that costs money. I think what we're trying to do is try to use the tool as appropriately as we possibly can, so that most of what you need to do is achieved with out-of-the-box capabilities.
Great.
And there's not the thing. I mean, when I go to the conferences nowadays, whenever they talk about SharePoint and Yammer in the same conversation, they're always talking about integration, and that's time, effort, and money. So I just don't. I would urge you not to make any changes now that would cost you money until we work through a plan.
Yeah.
On what the scope is and how we're going to achieve it.
Hey, Larry, this is Jay. I've got a real quick question for you as well. Do
Please.
you anticipate your members wanting to access this SharePoint site and/or Yammer via mobile devices?
100%. And that's one of the big frustrations that we have, in that, we have the newsfeed app, but that doesn't do much. And that's, I've absolutely heard that a lot. We need to be mobile here too.
What level is your Office 365? Is that SharePoint 2010 or 2013?
2013.
That's good news.
Okay. So yeah, I've been told, and again, I want to stress, I'm not IT, so I'm only going to be able to provide so much information in that regard, but that unless we go to SharePoint on-prem, that we can't really customize our email alerts, that there are some things that are locked in throughout SharePoint that we just can't change.
Yes, well, that's how they make Office 365 affordable. Yeah, that's right. They're limited administrative capabilities. So that would also need to be the limitations and their impact on what you're trying to do would have to be identified.
Right. Right. Okay.
I had Microsoft make a presentation to us a little over a year ago, where the guy spent his very first slide on Office 365 was all of the things you're going to give up, all
Really?
of the capabilities you have today that you're going to. It blew me away that was Microsoft's first slide in a Office 365 pitch. But I think they said, look, it is what it is. We're not going to apologize, and we want to make sure you know right off the bat what you won't be able to do in Office 365. So there's a few of those gotchas, I think.
Yeah. 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 So I would be more than happy to create a list of what we're trying to do. Again, and if you take a look at that and come back to me and say we need more information on this, or could you please format it like this? That's fine. But I think that would be sounds like that would be a good place to start.
Let me ask you, James, once again here. Do you have any technical people that can work with you on that, so that they can refer directly to the facilities in SharePoint that you're using to do things?
Yes, yeah, and if I create this list and it doesn't refer to enough of those what I would call back end things, you can let me know what more information you need, because I'm not sure. I'm not even going to know what I don't know, right?
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, but if you just have someone, you can, maybe the procedure would be you draft up something, and then you have a meeting and walk through it with a technical person,
Sure.
and they help fill in. But because then we'll know what facilities you're using to do which things, and they'll also tell you whether it's a Office 365 limitation or whether it's a knowledge gap and so forth.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll be great. That's a wonderful start.
Okay. I will try to get that within the next week or so. I'm actually going to be in New York next week, so I could run this by them then.
Yep.
And so, yeah, if you give me a week and a half, I should be able to get that for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
super.
Larry, if you could, this is Jay. If you could make sure you include, what types of mobile devices, phones, tablets, brands,
Sure.
Apple, Android, those kind of things, and what functionality you would like to see on the mobile devices.
Great.
Read, contribute, those kind of things.
Okay. Jay, I'm going to want it all. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, you know, Larry, you will be the first customer to say that.
I'm sure, right? I'm sure. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you got a sense of what we're trying to do here, and the uphill climb that I've been seeing. And like I said, I did record this, so as soon as I get it up to YouTube, I will send out that link. And we'll go from there.
Super. That's wonderful.
Larry.
Okay.
Larry, are you the decision maker on this moving forward, or?
I would be working. I'd be working with my my COO and my CIO on this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Well, we appreciate the time, Larry. This has been very helpful.
And thank you very much.
When you get that information, you can just send it to me or send it to everybody that's on that email address, whichever one's easier.
Okay.
I'll make sure that everybody has it if it comes direct to me.
Great.
All right. Thank you very much. And have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.